Let's get into the press review. We begin with the Standard newspaper, and the lead today is political arena shakes again. The picture there, President Uhuru Kenyatta alongside former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who's expected back to the country over the weekend. So at a glance, how this will play out is that Planning Committee says 172 elected leaders will receive Raila at the airport and join him for invite-only dinner. After addressing the country at airport on arrival at 2:30 p.m., the CORD leader will head to Uhuru Park to address his supporters. Issues CORD will confront or likely to address is Jubilee, will include Anglo leasing payments, corruption and tribalism in government, as well as, of course, insecurity. And yesterday's scheduled meeting between Uhuru and TNA MPs deferred Tuesday to allow them to attend Requiem Mass for departed colleague. Also, Jubilee expected to fight back CORD attack, with President Ruto yesterday warning against incitement of ethnic rivalry. And read more about that story on page 4 in the Standard today. The national prayers are covered for you on page 2 and 3. We saw those yesterday morning at the Safari Park Hotel, the national prayer breakfast, the 12th one. And God has never abandoned Kenya. Those were the words of President Uhuru Kenyatta during that prayer session. The president says terrorism, high cost of living, hate speech, as well as corruption and unemployment are deterring growth, but maintained the country's commitment to fight the war against terror, and as well as the challenges to deal with those that the country is facing. Ruto shows his comical side as well. Remember seeing that. It was punctuated with laughter and light moments as the country's top leadership, fiery politicians and ordinary Kenyans humbled themselves before God. The DP was left everybody in stitches as he announced that his boss had agreed to hum one of his Sunday school hymns, and we did see him actually taking up the challenge. Page 3, Life Today, your feature is on U.S. poet who proved that no heights are too high to climb, and it's all about Maya Angelou. Obama describes Angelou as one of the brightest lights of our time as the world mourns the legend. Amazing work she was able to do in her lifetime. So she was born when racism was, of course, more virulent in America than tribalism is or has ever been in Kenya. She was raped at the age of, as a child, and at 17, she was a mother already. Later, she worked as a nightclub dancer and even a prostitute. So began shaky foundation for her, but read more about her story that will show you what a determined girl and woman she ended up being and the impact she had in the world, around the world. Page 4 is that showdown, as I mentioned, from the front page, as CORD welcomes re-energized Raila. He has been on a 3-month break, so he's coming back. And it will be, of course, all eyes, and will be interesting to see what he'll have to say with all those key issues and the challenges that the government is facing. And of course, we've had the pronouncements that have come from CORD in the past rallies they have had. MP vows to stay put on Waiguru motion, so that's not going away yet, according to Linturi. He says all his colleagues who signed petition did so willingly, and Uhuru should not compel anyone to withdraw. We did see some of those MPs come out to say they are going to withdraw their signatures, but also we know that constitutionally that is not possible, so they did append their signatures for that to go on. So it will. But it will be interesting to see how far it can actually go. 12 killed in Wajir, retaliatory attacks is also a story covered for you today in the Standard on page 8. And do grab yourself a copy for more details of that. Let's now cross to the Daily Nation. And the lead story, politicians pray for Kenya amid tension. And the front page picture there, the president accompanied by the First Lady, the Deputy President, when they arrived for the prayers yesterday. And a quote here from the president: if we left this room today and just committed ourselves to go out and practice what has been preached here by ourselves as leaders, then we'll have a great country and great prosperity and a great future for the people of this country. Those are the words of the president yesterday. Uhuru challenges leaders to practice the noble messages they preach as Ruto calls for fairness and equity in governance. Kalonzo and Wetangula, who were absent from the meeting, but also Kenyans on Twitter divided, and prayers held amid tension of a CORD rally. Doing the right thing, remember, was the theme in that particular prayer meeting yesterday. Also, the Daily Nation leading with the homecoming of Raila on the front page. CORD buses in hundreds for Raila's city rallies. So we are seeing hundreds of people thronging the capital to be part of this comeback, a huge comeback for the CORD family, welcoming back the leader, co-principal in that coalition. On page 5, in a different note, planned South Sudan peace talks cancelled. A country does not want to be seen to be creating parallel negotiating team. So Nairobi's plans to host the warring South Sudan leaders were cancelled yesterday to give way for the implementation of the peace deal recently signed in Addis Ababa. The nation has learned that the planned meeting between Salva Kiir and rebel leader Riek Machar on Kenyan soil was put off to allow them to meet in Ethiopia next week. Also, police are on the spot in a bail dispute. That's on page 6. Terrorism criminals also have rights under the Constitution. Those are the words of the Chief Justice Mutunga. Prosecutors accused of failure to give compelling reasons in court that warrant denial of bond to terror suspects. This is an ongoing conversation in as far as the role of judiciary in helping the fight against terror. Of course, we did see the top security chiefs meet with the CJ earlier on in the week. But of course, he maintains that the police also have a role in ensuring that when they do move to court, they have evidence to warrant denial of bail. We have seen several cases of bail being granted, and of course, atrocities having been said to have been committed by those same people released on bail. Back page, the Daily Nation: soldiers deployed to Algeria after 12 killed. We mentioned that earlier, and troops to support police in that operation to flush out the combatants that are in that region. Right, the Star newspaper now, and 10,000 cops to welcome Raila, and that is the manpower that has been put together by the police as far as ensuring security. So police to be deployed from airport to Uhuru Park. Remember, the ban had been there with the IG initially stating that their concerns were over security, that unscrupulous people could take advantage of this gathering of people to terrorize people, or or have some attacks planned out. But now we understand they've put up these measures. 10,000 officers it will be for that welcome back. And that front page picture, a sad tale, the medical appeal for young boy with tail, as is captured on that picture, the toad-like growth emerging from the back of 4-year-old Felix Mwandeti from Athi River. And you can read more about his sad story on page 3, and perhaps a medical appeal if you can assist. Spotlight: Railways loses millions over scrap metal. That's the Kenya Railways has lost 150 million shillings worth of scrap metal in 3 years, and 1,000 wagons in an orgy of looting condoned by top corporation officials. Why they want me dead? Find out what Maina Njenga is saying in as far as that last, we saw the attack on his convoy, all the people he was with were killed, he sustained some injuries, and now he's speaking out about why those people who want him dead want him dead. Of course, he accused the police of being behind the shootings, but the police have maintained it was an inter-Mungiki clash that brought that about. Uhuru asked leaders to stop incitement, as well covered for you inside the Star newspaper today. On page 4, you have court stops Baraza from being taken to The Hague. So that process had been allowed, the extradition of Baraza to the ICC, but he did appeal the decision. And now, wanted journalist Walter Baraza won a reprieve yesterday when the Court of Appeal issued orders stopping his arrest and surrender to the International Criminal Court. And of course, that trend, Baba, while you are away, Kenyans get creative with it. On page 7, if you missed all that activity on social media, if you're not on social media, you can read about it there. The People newspaper, the headline today, female MCA night visit to ousted governor. So, indecent proposal, the People is reporting that embattled Kericho governor spills beans before Senate Select Committee probing accusations against him, narrating how MCAs dispatched their female colleague to his house on a Sunday to entice him with a corrupt deal. Right. The words of Paul Chepkwony here. She said, I only needed to kill one project worth 30 million shillings and give the money to MCAs so that they could spare me impeachment. And this just the intrigues behind the flurry of impeachment activity that has been witnessed in as far as MCAs around the country or in some counties is concerned. Safaricom security deal under scrutiny. House committee wants answers over cost of surveillance equipment. Also, Uhuru there on what he told leaders, and he said, preach peace ahead of CORD Saturday rally.